Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Title Time Live. I'm your host, Jason, and it is a Week 10 edition in the NFL. Guys, we are beyond the halfway point. We are cruising towards playoff time for fantasy football. How are you doing this morning? I'm going to go ahead and start with Rich, who's out in his car yet once again. Rich is still escaping.
Yeah, so isn't it crazy, or is it just me how fast this season has gone? I mean, the fact that we're at Week 10 already is just kind of blowing me out of the water. It just a fast year this year, I guess, with all the injuries and all that stuff. It's just making it very, very go quickly and stuff like that. A lot of exciting things this weekend. Hopefully CMC's back this week for everybody that drafted him number 1 overall and is excited to see what he's able to bring to the field. Now let's wait to see. It's kind of one of the things. Hey, let's see what happens and stuff. First game back, let's see usage and everything. What kind of percentage usage you guys expect from him?
I would say 60-40 is going to be my guess.
I heard he's going to get about 20.
I think David's on mute.
I heard David. No,
I'm not hearing him at all.
I think I heard that he's going to get 20 snaps or so.
What the heck? All right.
Whether that's, how many touches he gets or not, I highly doubt it, but.
Well, so with that, would you play him this week, David?
Yes, I'd still play him. I mean, you took him because of the volume. They're gonna use him as long as he's healthy. I don't think they bring him back at this point if he's not ready to go.
I agree. Yeah, they've got, even though their season has been rockier than they'd hoped, especially with the injuries to Ayuk, injuries to Juwan Jennings, injuries to Debo over a couple of weeks, and of course McCaffrey being out, their defense not being as good as everybody expected. I do still think that they need him for this push, but if they actually make it to the playoffs, they're going to need him then too. So I think if he wasn't ready, they wouldn't start him, because it's more important even beyond this year for him, right? Like you have aspirations beyond this year, so can't risk losing him. Good morning, George. How are you on this fine morning?
Good morning. I'm doing absolutely fantastic. I was running a couple of minutes late this morning, but I had a good reason to be running late. I had to go to Waffle House and get breakfast because I had been craving Waffle House for a couple of days. I had some running around to do this morning, and I decided on the way home I would stop and get some Waffle House.
It's not a bad excuse, really. I have been on a diet for a while, and I cheated last night at a new fusion place. So I understand. I've been craving that place for 3 weeks since they opened, and finally broke down and went there. So
I blame my son because I asked him. So he went to Waffle House yesterday, and he was meeting some friends of his right before a wedding. They were all going there for breakfast. And I gave him my credit card, said, hey, bring me home some hash browns, bring me home a waffle. And he completely forgot. So I blame him because I really wanted it after he forgot.
Well, I don't blame you at all for going and getting what you want. So we're going to do the same thing we do every week. We're going to ask what game you're looking forward to, with the twist that we added last week of you do have to pick the game that you choose. So I'm going to go through what we did last week. There were some real not great choices here. So Rich chose Miami. Never choose Miami.
Not against Buffalo.
David took the Bucks. We almost had it for you. Fell off just a little bit. Mark chose Green Bay. That didn't work out. George took the Commanders. We got our first win there. Justin took the Ravens, and then I originally took the Saints, but got guilted out of choosing the Saints because there was no way they were going to lose to the Panthers, and I took the Rams. So I did get a win only because I got lucky. So, with that said, because Rich is in his car again, we're going to give Rich the first choice of the game he wanted this week.
Yeah, so I will be going with the Houston's and Lions game. Good matchup. I mean, Lions is like pretty much dominating everybody this year. Jameson Williams, he'll be back. Not that he might be a factor or not. On the other side with the Texans, we're still waiting word if Nico Collins is going to play today. So I'm excited for that in multiple leagues and everything and stuff like that. Before he went out, he was just slaying it. Probably, I'd go back and fact check me and everything, but probably he was the number one receiver going in before his injury and everything. So excited game. Like I said, Stroud, man, not the Stroud from last year, that's for sure, and everything. And with Diggs out and everything, let's see how this game goes. It's going to be an exciting game inside. So I would pick the Lions to win. You just can't go against them right now.
Yeah, they only have one loss on the season, so it's hard to pick against them. Give me a score.
I'm going to say 28-24.
The Texans defense will be doing very well if they can keep the Lions under 30 points, because not a lot of teams have been able to do that this season. All right, Dave, you've been sitting there sick but patiently waiting. So I will let you go next.
Yeah, a little under the weather. We all are here. The babies started the sniffles 2 days ago. Now Dana and I got them. So, but I'm here because I want to keep my streak of answering every fantasy question you guys have going. My game of the week, I don't care that I'm not allowed to pick it, would be the Commanders and the Steelers because that's a great one. But I will go with the Niners at the Bucks. I'm going against the Bucks this time. I want to see what they do with CMC, obviously. Jennings is supposed to be back, so that should be good for them. And I'm also curious as to, the Bucks are still doing great. Offensively, defensively, they're hot garbage, unfortunately. Sorry, buddy. So I'm going with the Niners. I think something along the lines of 33-21.
So I do question the 21 because the offense is doing so well. But I'm with you. I have the 49ers. Listen, I pick against the Bucks almost every week just because I'm a longtime Bucks fan, and you don't get to be the most losingest team in NFL history by winning a lot of games. So I constantly pick against them. But they play this game. They come out of the bye. Hopefully Mike Evans is back, and they'll have a downfield weapon again. So hopefully things get better. Their schedule eases up too. They've got, I think, second hardest schedule to date in NFL history, based off who they've already played. So coming out of this, only down 2 wins, and a cupcake schedule going forward speaks pretty well. They can still make the playoffs. So here we go. Woo! George.
We have a game going right now. We have a game going right now over, I want to say, in Germany.
Yep, that's in Munich.
They just had a sign up that said the Bryce is right. I don't think they've been watching our young Bryce Young for very long.
Well, they're trying to egg him on because Daniel Jones right now is 3 for 9 for 30 yards, but Bryce Young is 7 for 9 for 78 and a touchdown. So, the big thing
too.
Say again.
I took the Panthers this week too. So,
and the other big thing here is Jatavion Sanders is the one that got the touchdown. So, for our tight end futures, I think he was probably a 3rd-round pick in dynasty drafts this past year. So some people may have a guy that they can lean on for the future if that continues.
He was so wide open on that touchdown catch too. I mean, there was nobody within, I'd say, about 8 yards of him. Like, it was the most wide open you could get on that play. As for the game I'm looking forward to, I'm going to call an upset. It's going to be the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys. No Dak Prescott. I'm saying the Cowboys go out and beat the Eagles today in Dallas.
So I feel like your win streak comes to a close here.
That's fine. That's why it's called an upset. I'm going to go Cowboys 21, Eagles 17.
All right, 21-17. Do we like Cooper Rush today then? What are we doing? Because they can't run the ball.
I know. I think it's more of a CD Lamb and Jake Ferguson than a Cooper Rush thing, to be honest. I don't know. Maybe the defense scores a touchdown. That can very well happen.
Have you watched their defense this year?
I have. I absolutely have. But I'm calling an upset. That's why it's called an upset. Like, I didn't want to take an easy game, like saying the Giants would beat the Panthers or something like that, even though they're currently losing to the Panthers. I didn't want to take an easy game. I wanted to call an upset here.
All righty, and I am going to. There's a couple of good games here. The having to pick a winner portion of this makes it harder, because there's a couple of good games I want to pick here, but let's see. Because I'd pick the Steelers-Commanders game, and I would probably take the Commanders here. Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to take the Steelers and the Commanders, and I'm going to piss Dave off, and I'm going to take the Commanders.
Hey, don't piss me off when you're wrong.
Miles Sanders has the cart coming out for him, apparently.
Yep.
We were just talking about they could have gotten rid of him at the trade deadline right before the show started, but maybe this is why. Because when you
nobody who was trading for Miles Sanders, let's be honest, and don't say Dallas, because
I was going to say Dallas.
Is Miles Sanders better than what they have in Dallas? Probably not.
Oh, I don't know. I mean,
is better than what they have in Dallas?
Is he better than Rico Dowdle? Maybe, maybe not. But he's better than the ghost of Zeke. I think he's probably better than the ghost of James Cook. Dalvin Cook. Yeah, listen, you become fantasy irrelevant for 3 straight years. I can forget your name. That's just the new rules.
Yep.
So, anyway, so that's the picks for this week. We've got Rich with the Lions. That's way to go out on a limb there. Dave's got the Niners, George has got the Cowboys, and I've got the Commanders. So we will see how we do. If you have out there, if you're watching us, the few of you that are, you have a team that you want to say and you want to make a prediction, I'll write you down and we'll call it out next week, whether you win or lose. See how you do.
Hey, Jason.
All right.
Jason, real quick, I do want to give a quick shout out, say happy birthday to Rich. Happy birthday to all of the United States Marines out there, 249 years old today. We won't be recording tomorrow, so I also want to give a shout out, happy Veterans Day, to all those who have graciously put their lives on the line for this country. Thank you.
Back at you, George. Appreciate you.
All right, guys. Oh, and Justin is not here today, but he would be upset if I did not mention patreon.com/toilets to titles, patreon.com/toilets to title. We have a tier for every salary, basically, from $2.99 to George will be your bus driver. If you didn't know, that's what George did in the Marines. He drove an amphibious assault vehicle. So he will come pick up your kids in a bus and take them to whatever event you need them to go to. So we've got the $2.99 tier all the way up to the George is your driver tier. go ahead, Dave.
I didn't have anything to say.
Sorry, I thought you made a motion like you were going to talk. But so with that said, we'll get into the questions that we have so far. Saucy Boa says, fantasy questions for tight end, Evan Ingram or TJ Hawkinson. Now I'll start with Dave.
Well, this is one I didn't want you to start with me on. I think I got to go TJ. Evan Ingram, I mean, they're missing a lot of weapons there, but we have no idea what this offense is going to look like with Mac Jones. So,
Okay, so we got one for TJ Hawkinson. Let's go with Rich next.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting choice and stuff like that, but I almost feel like maybe Ingram has a better game with Mac Jones at QB, using him as a safety blanket and everything. So I like Evan Ingram with more targets coming out of this game than Hawkinson in his game, because he does have other weapons that Darnold could throw to. So I like Evan Ingram in this game.
Yeah, I mean, no Christian Kirk there, so I can see why you would pick Evan Ingram. And George, break the tie for us.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with David here. I'm going to go with TJ Hawkinson. I don't know what it's going to look like with Jacksonville relying on Mac Jones. Last time we seen Mac Jones, he was not very good. The Bears defense is a pretty solid defense against tight ends. I'm looking them up right now to see where they rank. But if I'm not mistaken, they're pretty good. Evan Ingram, yeah, just go ahead and give me
All right, we got Evan Ingram over TJ Hawkinson over Evan Ingram with George Friesen there. Brandon says, morning fellas, 2-part question. Current running backs, tight end. A-Chain Swift, Chase, Mason, Eckler, and Ertz and Andrews. Who do I drop to get CMC out of IR? Ertz or Eckler? Also, do I go safe with A-Chain, Swift, PPR, or do I switch one of them to CMC? Let's see. So, who does Brandon drop to get CMC out of IR? Ertz or Eckler? I would say Ertz, wouldn't you guys? Anybody have an issue dropping Ertz? He's got Andrews, so like the amount of times he's going to start Ertz over Andrews seems relatively low to me.
Yeah, so this comes down to the fact that it's Ertz and Andrews as the two options. And to throw this back at you, Brandon, is who do you start primary, Andrews or Ertz? I mean, that's who you're going to be. You know, if you're rolling with Andrews 9 times out of 10, then Ertz is who you're dropping with. Now, I hope you
can't drop Andrews. Like that. He can't drop Andrews anyway because he played. But
true. So to me, it's Ertz by elimination.
Well, he wants to drop. He's asking if he should drop Eckler.
Man, I don't. With Brian Robinson, with his injuries that he's dealing with and stuff, he's out today and everything. So we don't know the severity of it. And all of a sudden, he could be out, put on IR, and all of a sudden, Eckler is your number 1 running back there.
Yeah. David, do you agree?
Yeah, I'd say Ertz as well. Depends on how you feel about handcuffs. Mason could also be a choice, depending on, but you're going to want to wait on that to see what CMC looks like, what the split's going to look like if there is one, etc. So I'd say Ertz is the safest drop.
Yeah, I mean, I can't drop Mason only because you don't know if CMC is going to go out and re-injure himself, and that's always a possibility. So, like, Mason was super valuable while McCaffrey was out. So I'd much rather hold the handcuff. You can stream tight ends off the waiver wire if you have to. Running backs at this point, not so easy. George, you agree in there, dropping Ertz?
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out. I would have to ask how many times this season you started Ertz over Andrews. At most, I'm going to say it was maybe one, maybe two tops. But going forward, how many times are you going to start Ertz over Andrews? The answer is probably going to be zero. The way Andrews has started to come on. So I would feel more comfortable dropping Ertz. I like having running backs. I don't think anybody's going to rush out to pick up Ertz off the waiver wire. Whereas if you drop Eckler, somebody's going to run out and pick him up. And like it was previously mentioned, if something goes wrong with Brian Robinson rather, and he does end up on IR, you just gave up a decent starting running back for no reason when you could have just dropped a middling tight end.
Yeah, the only thing I would have said on this is, which is probably a little bit too late and stuff like that, but here's one reason why it's so important to pay attention to your rosters with coming into weeks ahead of time. If you would have thought about this a week and a half ago or beginning of the week, you could have probably had the option to trade Ertz and Eckler for a better upgrade and wouldn't have been in a situation where you're dropping somebody. So always be thinking ahead in situations like this when you know players are coming back off of injuries, if you have a stout lineup like this where it's difficult to drop somebody.
All right. So I think we're all good as far as Ertz over Eckler. And now, right now, does he go safe with A-Chain and Swift in PPR, or do you roll with CMC over one of those two? And I'll start with George.
I'm going to go safe with A-Chain and Swift, unless you played either Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, or Jamar Chase. Then you're swinging for fences. You want to have that high upside. I would go with CMC there. But for the most part, it was mentioned earlier, they're expecting him to have about 20 snaps today, not touches. If it's 20 touches, wheels up. But they said 20 snaps. So I am very pessimistic on Christian McCaffrey's output for today. They're going to ease him back in. And with them having Mason, who's played phenomenal, there's no real reason to rush him back in. They're looking at long-term with him. They need him for the playoffs. They don't need him for this week.
David?
Yeah, I'm probably doing the same. I know I'm going A-Chain no matter what. He's my top out of these three. Again, it's up to you, what your situation is between Swift and CMC. I'd probably prefer Swift as the safer option, but again, swinging for the fences, CMC is not a terrible choice. I mean, we've seen what he could do just with a few touches of the ball. So,
yeah, I would bet of those 20 touches, a ton of them are near the goal line.
Yeah.
Rich?
Yeah, so interesting if you guys agree with me on this, but if we're all saying going with the two running backs, Shane and Swift, would it be smart if he's able to get away with it is to leave CMC on the IR this week if it's not going to penalize him?
Yeah, if he doesn't have to make other roster moves, because I don't know who he has to sub in and out. But if he can just leave his roster from last week, I have no problem leaving CMC on the IR, if that's what we're saying.
Yeah, if you're not going to use him, in this case where we're talking about this, hey, leave him on there and stuff like that. That way you don't have to drop Ertz right away and stuff like that, and then kind of roll with that option, what we were talking about and everything. There might be some injuries that happen over this weekend that you might be able to move someone to the IR and take them off. So I agree with you guys with A-Chain and Swift, and if you can, and you don't get penalized for it, leave CMC on your IR for one more week.
Yeah, I think the only real issue there is there are some leagues that, even though the only penalty assessed by the league, like by the way the league rules are, is that you're not allowed to make roster moves if you have an ineligible guy on IR. But there are some leagues that get kind of trying to think of a nice way to say, let's just say frustrated with people that use that as a way to leave somebody on IR, but yeah, if your lineup set, if you didn't have to pull somebody else out for a bye week or whatever else, and you can just leave your lineup the way it is from last week, then yeah, I'm all for leaving CMC in IR spot. I think it's just good strategy. All right. Ryan says, good morning. Please pick one. Collins, McLaren, or Brian Thomas Jr. I'm going to go with George because I know what he's going to say here.
Yeah, it's Terry McLaurin. He's the number 7 overall wide receiver in half PPR. Don't sit him, especially for Nico Collins, who's coming back off an injury, and Brian Thomas, who has Mac Jones throwing him the ball. This is an easy one. Don't worry about the tough matchup for McLaurin. Start him and start him confidently.
David, you agree?
I do.
All right, and that's 3. So let's see here. We got Bo Nix, Hill, or May. We'll start with David.
I assume this is Taysom Hill. Since it's like a quarterback question.
I mean, Brandon, you'll have to. I mean, is it Tyreek Hill? And this is
I'm guessing that this is probably Taysom.
But
I know there's some leagues where Taysom Hill is listed as a quarterback, and you can't move him from that.
Right.
Would anybody start Taysom Hill over Nix or May?
No.
No.
All right. Okay. So Bo Nix or May? David.
Man, that's interesting. I feel like May has been more consistently electric with his legs, but Nix has been okay too. He's facing the Chiefs in KC. Man, I don't really like any of these options this week. I'm going to go with May, though.
One from May. Rich?
Yeah, man. I think I'm rolling May, too. Yeah, I'm rolling May.
All right, then I'll give George the floor here.
It's going to be May.
That was terrible. By the way, just for in 9 games played right now, Bo Nix has 295 rushing yards and 4 touchdowns. So there is a safe floor for Bo Nix rushing the football. It's not, it's obviously not Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels levels rushing, but,
I just don't like it against the Chiefs defense.
Yeah, I kind of wonder. What is 295 divided by 9? I mean, I can see him getting 32 yards on the ground and it not mattering for the game whatsoever.
Yeah, I can see that too.
But,
Look, there's doubt against the run, but it's more lenient to the running backs and everything. It's a divisional game. Yeah, man, I'm real close with Nix because of his running aspect of it. But yeah, I'm still sticking with me.
all right, and then would he asks this later? Would Cooper Rush be above May for anybody here?
No.
Okay, so it is Drake May for us. Brock Purdy or Sam Darnold?
Darnold.
Darnold. Rich.
Purdy, man. I don't know, man. Heck, I say that real confidently now.
You should say that real confidently. You were right the first time, but don't go with your gut, bud.
Yeah, Purdy. Coming back from off a bye and everything, so they're prepared.
I know where George is going. He's got Purdy. David?
Man, I'm taking Darnold. He's facing the worst defense against quarterbacks. And Darnold just has weapons everywhere, and they're actually all healthy for once. I'm going with Darnold.
I just want to point out that Brock Purdy is going against the 31st most generous defense against quarterbacks.
Neither of these is a bad choice.
No, these are both really good options, believe it or not. Jacksonville is the worst against quarterbacks. the Bucks. I'm sorry, Jason. They are second to worst against quarterbacks.
Can I say this though? Not and this is not pro Bucks for sure. But the Jags are also like worst against running backs or damn close, right? Somebody want to look that up for me? Whereas the Bucks are not that bad against the rush. So like I do feel like very easily could be an Aaron Jones kind of game. You know, maybe Darnold gets 2 touchdowns quickly and then Aaron Jones runs the ball, whereas Purdy will probably throw it over and over again. I also expect the Buccaneers offense to put up more of a fight than the Jaguars. The Jaguars offense, so I think they'll be in it longer. So I think Purdy will have to throw more.
So
just
the Jags are 31st against the run. They're next to last.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's pick your poison. Whereas the Buccaneers are definitely like a team that you throw on more than you'd run on.
Yeah,
just throwing that out there. Again, both great options.
Are currently 18th against the run.
And it's not that they're good against the run.
They're average. They're right in the middle.
It's just that you can pass on them, so why run on them?
Yep.
I guess you could say that about Jacksonville too, but I guess you can do everything.
You can do whatever you want against Jacksonville. Miami has 2 wins on the season. One of them is against Jacksonville. Need I say more?
Yeah. Oh, let's see. Jerry Bagshaw says, "Good morning, everybody."
Morning, Jerry.
Good morning. My son says good morning. So
hey-o.
Let's see. And then Brandon, start 2 PPR. We've got Waddle, DJ Moore, Jalen McMillan. Oh, no, thank you. Can I just say no?
No.
Well, you know what? David has to answer every question asked, so I'm going with David here.
I think if McMillan plays, you go McMillan and DJ Moore. If he doesn't, then you go.
Is playing. I just got an update. Yeah, I got an update probably about 2.5 minutes ago. He's good to go.
Well, Brandon's banned from the show. I'm not answering his questions anymore.
Wait. So who'd you take, David? You took
McMillan and DJ Moore.
Okay. Anybody watch DJ Moore basically like walk off the field during a play, and then he basically went and sat down on the bench while the play was still going on? Almost. It was pretty pathetic. Anybody see that play last week?
No.
Yeah, I saw it. I mean, that's a tricky thing to call out and stuff like that because of the fact, look, he was running the sideline as Caleb was, and probably in that moment he thought Caleb was running back out in the field and everything. So I don't know, man.
He just walked off. Didn't even look. He didn't look. He didn't even look back to see. I mean, the only possible explanation I saw of why, I mean, and it's not a good one, but is that he went out of bounds and he was taking himself out of the play, so he couldn't be the first person to touch the ball. But you could still be on the field blocking in case somebody did catch the ball. I don't know, man. Like it was not a good look for DJ Moore, who's got kind of the rep this year of not being a good teammate. So, but back to this question, George.
Sorry, I had to unmute myself. I'm actually going to go Waddle and DJ Moore. I'm not sold that McMillan is going to produce more than either one of those 2 guys. I honestly don't really care about DJ Moore walking off on one play, which was probably miscommunication between the player, the quarterback, and what was actually going to be happening. That doesn't faze me at all. I'm still going to go with the better, talented wide receivers in Waddle and DJ Moore.
You should go watch it wasn't miscommunication whatsoever. It was basically that Drake May was rolling to his side. Not Drake May. Caleb Williams was rolling to his side. And it looked like Caleb Williams was going to go out of bounds or take a sack. He didn't, but DJ Moore gave up on the play anyway. And then the play went back the opposite direction, and they were playing one man down basically. But Rich, did you call this out already? What do you got?
No. So, look, I might be the only person that's out on this. I'm not playing McMillan until he shows me 2-3 games that he's going to be consistently involved in that game. At best, he's the third option there when it comes to receiving past Kadon and Shepard and even the running backs in the backfield and everything. So until he shows me consistency and stuff like that, I wouldn't even be sticking McMillan in the lineup.
Yeah, look, the Bucks want McMillan to be a thing. They drafted him to try to be a thing. All offseason, everybody was saying how good he looked, and he's just kind of been a little bit off with Baker so far this season. They do need a wide receiver to step up, but whether that's Raheem Jarrett, Sterling Shepard, whoever, I don't know. But yeah, I can't. I would do Waddle and DJ Moore in this one until I can see Baker trusting any of his wide receivers going forward. Because just in the couple games since Chris and Mike Evans have been out, he hasn't trusted really any of them. It's been to the tight ends, it's been to the running backs, and occasionally downfield. I'm pretty impressed that they're able to score as much as they have been without having to throw to wide receivers. So, all right.
Things are getting excited in the Carolina Giants game. You got the immovable force versus the immovable object. Carolina is dead last in red zone stoppage, and the Giants are 28th in the NFL in scoring in the red zone. So they're in the red zone, and I'm here. I am here for all this goodness.
Well, unfortunately, so are the Germans. They're
excited about it, man. What are you talking about? They are loving this. They are getting some of the best that the NFL has to offer today.
I would not be surprised if after this game they started a war with us just because sending this game to them. I mean, come on, man. It's not like we didn't know before the season, other than Dave, maybe, that these two teams would not be good. This is what the NFL schedule makers did to them. And also, can we stop sending the Patriots? Listen, I know it's funny to send American Patriots over to Britain, but those poor people have to watch that.
Oh, absolutely not. That is the most petty American thing to do. And gosh darn it, we will do it every year. We will remind them that we will send the Patriots to England every year.
And they cheer for them.
Yeah. Dustin says this is probably the saddest, most pathetic start-sit question I've ever asked on the show, but
he's not lying.
Mike Williams or Trey Palmer? Full PPR. Sorry, I just vomited in my mouth. Does Mike Williams even know where he's playing right now?
I don't even know where he's playing right now. Please, someone tell me. I'm just playing.
He's playing in Pittsburgh. Well, I mean, I guess he's technically playing in Washington for Pittsburgh. But, Dave, I'm going to start with you on this one, buddy. At least Trey Palmer knows the offense.
Yeah. Listen, what has Trey Palmer done this year? At least Mike Williams is on a new team. Maybe he does something. I'd shoot for the moon and go Mike Williams, but I don't like this question at all.
Listen, you said you'd answer everything, so you said Mike Williams, right?
I will answer everything, yes, Mike Williams.
All right, Rich.
Yeah, man, I just think you have to roll with Mike Williams, hoping that they're trying to get him involved and get him into this offense and everything compared to where Trey Palmer, they don't know if they're getting him involved and if he's even in this offense. So, yeah, let's go with Mike Williams.
All right, 2 from Mike Williams. George?
So, I have 109 guys ranked. Trey Palmer comes in at number 56. Mike Williams doesn't break the top 109. So for me to stay true to my rankings that I'm going off of here, I am going with Trey Palmer. New to the offense. He's going to have to beat out guys like Van Jefferson. I'm not sure he can do that. I'm not sure he can beat out Calvin Austin. I'm just – what has Mike Williams shown or done? He was injured. We don't even know if he's healthy. What are we doing here? No, I'm not starting Mike Williams. He's got a nice name. He's got draft capital, but he's really done absolutely nothing. I'm going to go with Trey Palmer.
Daniel Jones just threw a pass off of a defender's helmet that popped up in the air and got intercepted by the Panthers. So
and the crowd went nuts.
Crazy.
I mean, at least that's entertaining. You know, it's not good football, but at least it's entertaining. Dustin wants to know if he could start the Jackaneers defense. They sound like a badass team. Listen, it might be a badass team name, but it's a terrible, terrible defense.
Yeah,
imagine if you could combine the two teams in Jacksonville and Tampa. They'd actually be a pretty decent team.
So here's the problem. The Buccaneers have good players right now, but their scheme has been bad. Like I think it's coaching, but on defense, they've got players. It's not like Levante David's taking a huge step back or Vita Vea's not beasting out. Kalijah Cansey had 2 sacks last week. Like, Buccaneers have a good defense. They're just not playing.
You know what? They would still have a terrible part of the defense? The secondary. You could combine those two teams, and they would still have the worst secondary in the NFL.
I do want to say they do have the Bucs have a decent cornerback. It's a guy you made fun of at the beginning of the season, and because he was rated the PFF last graded. They're
the 31st overall.
Well, I mean, one cornerback does 31st. I mean, one corner doesn't make a great secondary. I get you, but I bet you if you looked up his name now, he's toward Zion McCollum is towards the very top of the PFF grades. Still,
I don't like him. His name's Zion, which goes with Zion Williamson, who just wants to sit on the bench for my New Orleans Pelicans until he gets traded to the Lakers.
Maybe they can get Bronny James for him.
I will stop watching basketball.
The ultimate nepotism pick. Let's take LeBron James's son because LeBron is on our team.
Didn't they already send him down to like the G League?
Yeah, they just promoted him to the G League.
Yeah, he was happy to play there, where he went 2 for 9 and committed 5 turnovers, while his teammate, who nobody's ever heard of, got 28 points.
And they'll probably bring Bronny back up first.
Name value.
Let's see. Brandon agrees with me here. He's going to take Commanders over the Steelers.
That's why he's banned from the show.
That's why David refuses to answer any of his questions.
It's okay. Brandon's. It's okay. I'm okay with Brandon being wrong as well. You guys can be wrong together.
3 questions from Jimmy F. Stroud or Purdy? We're all taking Purdy, right?
Yeah.
Okay. McBride or Hawkinson? George.
I'm going Trey McBride. He's been really, really producing the last few weeks. Even with the struggles of Marvin Harrison, Trey McBride's been getting it done. New York Jets have a decent secondary, but one way you can pass on them is with the tight end. So I'm gonna go with McBride here.
All right, McBride. David?
I'm also going to go McBride.
Okay, and Rich?
I say McBride.
All right, always the Bride, never the Hawkinson. And then we've got still alive in the suicide pool, thinking Chargers are my lock this week, or am I thinking Falcons? Rich?
Give me matchups real quick.
Falcons at the Saints and Titans at the Chargers.
Oh man, Levis is. I think Levis is playing this week.
He is.
I don't know, man. The Titans defense, man, is sneakily real good. I'd almost think I'd rather pick the Falcons over the Saints, to be honest with you.
That's where I'm
more
on as well.
in them winning than the Chargers being the Titans.
Yeah, so the only real issue for me is the post coach firing bump that teams tend to get. They fired Dennis Allen this week, so does New Orleans come out and play better because of it?
They also traded some of their secondary. No Chris Olave. Rest in peace. He's dead for the rest of the year, most likely. It's one of those things. I can't pick the Saints to beat the Falcons.
Yeah. All right. So we're saying Falcons there.
Listen,
by the way,
he just brought it up, and nobody's really talked about it. The travesty that we no longer have Marshawn Lattimore versus Mike Evans twice a year.
I know.
I'm pretty okay. I'm pretty okay with it.
I'm not.
As a Bucs fan, I'm sure you are, but as an NFL fan, no. Like we needed that. Like there's no rivalries anymore in the NFL except between Marshawn Lattimore and Mike Evans. Like those two are old school rivalries. They don't like each other on or off the field, and we need that in the NFL.
I will say, as far as this question goes, these are my two, most. They're probably the two most picked teams this week. They're the ones that I consider, shoe-ins. And the shoe-ins have started winning lately. The favorites have gone, I think, 14 last week or something, or 13 or something. The favorites are starting to win more going forward throughout the season, whereas at the beginning of the year, we got knocked out of pools left and right picking the favorites. So, either one of these is fine by me.
What was the game early in the season that was everybody was picking to win, and everybody?
Well, there were a couple. Yeah, there were a couple.
Bengals Patriots game.
Yeah,
that was one. Tampa over Broncos week 3 was one of those two. It happened 3 weeks in a row where
and then week 4, the top 4 teams all lost that were considered locks, and then that's when it started getting back to more normal.
You know what a sound strategy would have been? Just pick the Kansas City to beat whoever they're playing.
I think you can only pick a team once.
You can, but that's not the point.
Well, I mean, go ahead. I don't know if Rich had something to say or if he...
Ravens was the week 2.
I was going to say the other game that people...
That was the one I was thinking of.
Say the Raiders-Raven.
So not everybody.
But
Rich was on that one early.
You would have got that right.
Darn right we would have.
By the way, PFF's number 1 rated corner right now is Ian McCollum. Just throwing it out there. Jimmy F. was offered a trade. McCaffrey from Montgomery. Thoughts? Which side do you want in that?
If I'm
whichever side I already had. If I had McCaffrey, I held him this long for a reason, as one of the other people brought up. And if I had Montgomery, I'm perfectly happy with what he's done so far this year and wouldn't want the mystery of what CMC is going to do moving forward. So I'm sticking to whoever I have.
If I feel like I'm a lock to make the playoffs, I want McCaffrey. If I am on the bubble, honestly, I still think I want McCaffrey.
All right, McCaffrey there. Rich.
Yeah, I mean, George was going the right direction and stuff like this. I mean, who's likely going to be more playing in championship week games and stuff like that, where the Lions, they might be so far ahead, they got Montgomery on the bench and stuff, resting him for the playoffs and everything. So that would be the one thing I'd be thinking about too.
I don't know if they're sitting Montgomery or they're sitting Gibbs or, anybody know who their third running back is?
I don't
know anybody. I think that division is going to be down to the wire. I think the Bears are going to fall off a little bit. They're coming up on the hardest part of their schedule, but I think the Packers and the Vikings are both still going to be in it going to the end of the season. And they've only had, I think, one division matchup in that division so far. So there's a lot of good, smack mouth football coming up for that division. Smash mouth, not smack mouth. I hate this.
Yeah, it's a hard choice. If I had Montgomery, like I have Montgomery in a lot of leagues, and stuff like that. I don't think I'm giving up Montgomery for everything he's done for me so far this year. I think I'm rolling with him because I'd rather have him healthy with the thought of McCaffrey maybe re-injuring himself. So I'm sticking with Montgomery.
Yeah, I think I like Montgomery this year. I mean, it's obvious, but like Montgomery's the guy that plays when they're ahead, and they've just been ahead so dang much, and I don't see that. That's not something that's going to change. Gibbs is the guy out of the backfield who catches the ball. They haven't needed it as much. It's not like if you have Gibbs, you're not upset with what he's given you. Man, if you're the owner of Gibbs or Montgomery, can you imagine if one or the other gets hurt? Like what kind of monster you'd end up having?
Yeah. I have no Montgomery and a whole lot of Gibbs, so I've imagined that monster many times.
Yeah, I think by a ton of the metrics, Gibbs is like the most efficient running back on the season, and he's on the field at most half the time. So, all right. So we answered that one. Dustin jumped in and said, "Don't trade CMC for Monty. You held him this long for a reason." I mean, sometimes you held him this long so you could get somebody like Montgomery for him. Like, don't dismiss trades just because you held a guy. If you can get look, if you can get Monty plus, right? Go get an ancillary piece. If they really want CMC, go get it. Flex option, DeAndre Hopkins or Cooper. Are we chasing the points from last week on DeAndre Hopkins, George?
Am I chasing the points? Absolutely not. Am I chasing the usage? Absolutely am. I'm going with DeAndre Hopkins.
Hopkins. All right. Rich?
Yeah, George hit it right on the nail. That was a perfect one hammer hit, knocking that damn nail all the way in. Great call, George.
Thank you.
And Dave?
Yeah, I'm not even sure Amari Cooper's going to play, so I'm going D-Hop.
All right. Oh, who wants to sing? Bobby Ham. It's his birthday. And
sorry, Bobby, we don't recognize your birthday because it is the Marine Corps birthday, and that takes precedence over every other birthday. I apologize for that inconvenience. But honestly, it's your fault. You chose to be born on the Marine Corps birthday, so your fault.
Yeah, Marine Corps birthday came first.
You both talked at once. I didn't hear what either one of you said.
I said Marine Corps birthday came first, so sorry.
Yep.
I said he should have held on for one more day so he could be more celebrated.
No, because tomorrow's Veterans Day, and that would take precedence.
Then he should have came a day early.
Yep.
Forced his way out.
Yep. Sorry, Bobby. It's your fault. Eat bacon.
There's something there.
That would change my mind. I might sing for bacon.
There's something there about coming one day early, but I'll just leave it at that. Jimmy F is thanking Dustin for the help. Bobby says also we didn't get to the why do the Giants suck so hard. Daniel Jones is probably the answer there, and we'll move on past that. Bobby Ham also says half PPR flex Pearsall, Xavier Worthy, or Sam Laporta, please and thank you. You know what, Rich? You lost the board bet last week on a Sam Laporta bad week. So we'll go with you first on this one.
Yeah, and just for that, Laporta and Worthy are in the same category for me now, so it's Pearsall.
All right, Pearsall it is. David?
CMC is back. Jawan Jennings is back. I'm going Laporta. I think Pearsall's not going to have as much play.
We don't think Purdy can get the 504 touchdowns and maybe throw one to Pearsall?
I mean, it's entirely possible, but I also think the same thing for the Lions. So,
all right. I mean, J-Mo's back too. Just throwing that out there. But you picked who you picked. What do you got, George?
I'm leaning Ricky Pearsall. Again, Xavier Worthy, he's going to be boomer bust. There's a reason they brought in DeAndre Hopkins. They need somebody consistent. They needed a weapon. Worthy, I think he will be good long term, but like rookie season. Again, most of his fantasy points have come in one game on the season, so he's out. So it comes down to Pearsall and Laporta, and I'm going to go with Ricky Pearsall.
Remember after week 1, everybody was so angry that the Bills let the Chiefs get Xavier Worthy.
And I think long term that will turn out to be true.
I don't know. I think long term he's Mecole Hardman. I don't
think
know.
He's better. I think he's a lot better than Mecole Hardman. Yeah, the only similarities between him and Mecole Hardman is they're fast.
They're fast.
Those are the only thing that have is similar. He's a better runner. He's a better catcher. He's a more explosive player than Mecole Hardman.
I don't know. I think the only route he's won on is go routes, and everything else has been kind of a bust for him so far this season. But that's why they play the games. He's got a long time to get better.
Mecole Hardman's fast, and he doesn't even win on go routes.
Go ahead, I would say if he was running sweeps all the time, I might stick him in more, but.
All right. Well, so Chad Roan says, "Good morning, tilters."
Titlers.
Titlers. Titlers. I was gonna say tilters because or is that titlers?
I'm good with that one too.
Starting options are Tyreek Hill, Juwan Jennings, and Josh Downs for my wide receiver too. So we'll start with that question. Tyreek Hill, Juwan Jennings, and Josh Downs. George, any thought on whether Tyreek and I'm not asking this for my Frankenstein League, although I'm asking it for my Frankenstein League. Are we looking at Tyreek Hill playing this week?
I think he plays. I'm 75% sure he will play. And when he does, obviously you're going to start him. But in this particular case for Chad, he actually has two pretty decent pivot options if Tyreek Hill does not play.
Well, so Tyreek's playing Monday night, so you gotta make the choice this morning. Or which one are you playing, George?
I'm running with Hill. I'm going to run with Hill.
I'm sorry, throwing it out there. It's a standard league.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, you're still running with Hill.
Still running with Hill.
What are you picking up if Tyreek Hill does not play?
Trent Sherfield.
Okay. David.
I'm going to go with Jennings. Give me every piece of the San Fran offense against this terrible defense.
All right. And Rich.
If I have Hill, I'm keeping Hill in there and seeing what options I have when I get there.
All right. So that's 2 for Hill there. Now, my running backs are McCaffrey and A-Chain, and flex right now is Dobbins. But they do have the option of starting a wide receiver or swap a flex out. So would you start – we're playing Hill right now. Would you flex in Jennings or Downs for Dobbins, McCaffrey, or A-Chain? Let's start with George again.
No.
This is going to sound crazy. I would start Josh Downs over Christian McCaffrey. Knowing it's a standard league, so the catches for Christian McCaffrey, any short dump offs that he may get, aren't really going to get you very many points. And knowing the fact that they've already come out and said that he's going to play approximately 20 snaps, I want somebody in there who I know is going to get more usage. I've gone this long without Christian McCaffrey. With them coming out saying he's only going to get about 20 snaps, I don't mind waiting another week. I'm going to go with Josh Downs, who's been playing phenomenal with Joe Flacco at quarterback.
How many touchdowns does he have on the season? Just so I know.
McCaffrey's like 2.
No, McCaffrey's like none. Josh Downs.
I'll check. I'll look that up for you. I'll get back to
because
you.
it is standard, right? So that's
Yeah.
the thing to worry about there. All right, Dave.
I'm sticking
Also, with Downs, another good thing he's got going in his favor is Michael Pittman is out.
All right,
I'm going to
Dave?
stick with the three running backs. I would just say throw Dobbins in your running back spot and move A-Chain to your flex with him being Monday night, just in case.
Good call there. I mean, okay, so let's. He has A-Chain. Anybody? Now, I guess you don't risk not being able to start A-Chain here. I was gonna say you could have Hill in your flex, and then if he doesn't play A-Chain. But I don't think, with the way Hill hasn't been as involved, I think you'd rather have A-Chain in either situation.
Yep.
So, all right, Rich, what do you got here as far as their flex?
Yeah, I'm keeping 3 running backs. Yes, they plan on giving McCaffrey 20 touches and everything, but do you think more of those
20
touches
snaps,
are
not
between
touches.
the 20s or in the red zone area?
No, they're going to give him 20.
Yeah, that's where I was
20
going.
snaps.
I apologize.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I heard you, but the fact is, and stuff like that, do you think more of those snaps are within the 20 or in the red zones there, in zones and stuff? So he might have more options for touchdowns if that's the case, and use Mason for the drive aspect of it, just to kind of work him in.
Listen, I think that they're saying that they're going to give him 20 touches or 20 snaps, and I understand that. However, I think it's also going to be based off game script. I don't think the Bucs offense is going to make this they're going to keep it closer than the Niners are going to be comfortable with. And if McCaffrey looks okay, they're going to put him out there. It's going to happen. And I don't think he comes back unless he is okay. So I'm okay with McCaffrey over the wide receivers. I do understand what you're saying, though, too, George, about Downs.
Alrighty. Bobby Ham says, who sits? PPR, David Montgomery, Tony Pollard, or J.K. Dobbins? And then, so we'll start with that. We'll go with Rich first. Montgomery, Pollard, or Dobbins, who sits in a PPR?
I think I'm benching Pollard.
Been playing well, was injured going into the week, and all of a sudden healthy. So we'll see how that goes. David?
Yeah, it's going to be Pollard for me as well.
George, you agreeing here?
Yeah, I've got Pollard here as the lowest ranked of the 3. So if I'm sticking true to the rankings, I'm going to go with Pollard. He does have the toughest matchup. Chargers are fourth best against running backs as well.
Well, so let me throw this out then. Would you bench Drake London to get Pollard on the field?
Nope.
No there, Dave?
What time do those two play? So Pollard's at 4.
They're both Pollard's at 4 and Drake London's at 1.
So I think Drake London's supposed to go today, but I know he's also been banged up, which is why I like Moody more today. But
you'll know at least you can pivot if he doesn't play.
Right. You
but
can pivot
if he's playing, you're playing him, right?
Yeah. If London's playing, he's got the much easier matchup today. The Saints are terrible.
And you agree with that, Rich? Play London unless he doesn't play.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Oh, hey, I want to give a quick shout out to Justin last week. He guaranteed Taysom Hill would score a touchdown, and he actually scored 2.
Oh, so he got it wrong, is what you're saying.
No, he got it right times 2.
He said he'd score a touchdown.
He did. He scored a touchdown twice.
There you go. With Dak going to IR,
is literally just the epitome of glass half empty, glass half full.
With Dak going on IR most likely this week, should folks look at you? Listen, we've got Rich here. There is no glass half empty. A half glass is a full glass. If you don't know, Rich works for Frito-Lay's, and those chips are quarter full at best. With that going on,
no. We just ain't gonna walk off this subject that quick. All right. So if it says 14 ounces, I don't care if it's halfway full. 14 ounces is a full glass of chips.
I wonder if those are actually measured. Then why do you make a bag for 28 ounces of chips?
32 ounces, sir. It's at least
Because we don't want them to break.
I don't think that's the thing. I think they want you to think it's a big old bag of chips when it's sitting on the shelf. No comment, right? All right. That's where he.
Speaking of chips, I have been looking for my favorite chips forever from when I grew up in Pennsylvania. I grew up in Pennsylvania, and they don't have hers honey barbecue chips here or their honey Cheetos, for that matter. But they just opened a Sheetz recently out here. And it's about 30 minutes away, and I drove out there yesterday and I wiped them out.
Dave, buddy, Wawa sells those, and
we don't have a Wawa within 6 hours.
You should have told me, because I could have been sending those to you, because I have been not snacking for the most part, but when I do, I go and get me, and sorry, this is not good branding for, because it's a different, I don't think they're Frito-Lay's, but hers, the honey Cheetos,
they're awesome.
Are absolutely the most incredible snack. Also,
I don't mean to break into the chip conversation here, but Amari Cooper has been declared inactive today.
Okay. Well, that helps that question.
That helps the Hopkins Cooper question.
We had Hopkins anyway, but you should have been listening to us anyway, but this just reinforces that.
I just also want to point out, real quick, Jason, I also want to point out, and it's going to transition right back to the chips and Wawa and Sheetz. We don't have a Sheetz here in Florida, but I am a proud Sheetz Rewards member.
Yeah, we are getting a Wawa. I want to say it's 2025 here, and I'm stupid excited because I can't wait to go have the pretzel with the cream cheese. I've been thinking about it for years.
I will tell you, we took a lot of Sheetz when we went to Ohio, George and I. We the 5 for $5 tacos, just
can't beat that.
Can't beat a good Sheetz $5 taco, or a good $5 taco Sheetz. Whichever way you want to say it.
And was the closest one until they opened this one recently. And Wawa right now, we looked it up yesterday because I was like, I'm craving the pretzel even more now. And the closest one was unfortunately 6 hours away. So,
but they do have those hers, which is so. If for whatever reason she stops carrying them, I can send them to you. I ship for a living, so I can get you some chips. I got you. And Rich is still going.
A whole box of the honey Cheetos off of Amazon, and they came and they were expiring in a week. They were all stale. It was terrible.
But here's the thing. How many came in?
Oh God, 24, 30.
I mean, a good week you can get through that. You'd be fine.
I did get through quite a bit of them.
Yeah. Brandon Williams. By the way, Lay's needs to come out with their own honey cheese puffs, because that is a combo that you don't know it'll work until you try it.
Only if we know a guy who could get that sent up to corporate.
If he wasn't out in his car right now, he'd be off doing things adding honey to Cheetos.
No, so
because I would love them in the crunchy Cheetos, not just the puffs. Sorry, go ahead, Rich. I might have frozen there.
Cheetos. Are you guys? You guys got me?
There you go. You're back.
You're
back. Start over. Yep.
Okay. My bad. I was gonna say we do have honey puff Cheetos. It's a new item that we came out with this seasonal from this first year and everything. So they actually are pretty good. So it might not fall in all regions. So we do have them, George. And then second of all, anytime you guys talk about chips that ain't Fritos, I am taking myself off the screen going forward.
I don't blame you. I
think we have
Listen,
to revisit a question next.
Yeah, I mean, look, this. We gotta go back to this. If we started talking about competing rocket companies, I'd probably do the same exact thing. With Dak going on IR most likely this week, should folks look to trade CD Lamb?
No,
absolutely not.
It's been a couple of years, but Cooper Rush was absolutely incredible for CD Lamb. It's one of those situations.
It was the other way around. CD Lamb was actually incredible for Cooper Rush.
Well, it's a hyper target. Like, is there somebody outside your window, Rich?
No, that's his hand.
Oh, okay.
You scared the shit out of me.
Hey, Dave, that was an excellent touchdown run right there by Tyrone Tracy. I just want to say that.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. So, I don't think so. I think what you'll see with Cooper Rush is a hyper targeting, which is not a bad thing. If you're the number 2 wide receiver, if they had one, let's say Jonathan Mingo or whatever.
Jalen Tolbert.
If you're a number 2 wide receiver, it's bad for that guy. But I think it's fine for CeeDee Lamb. So I don't look to trade.
It's fine for Lamb. It's fine for Ferguson, and that's about it.
Yeah, I especially because you're going to get reduced value now compared to what you would have gotten.
Yep.
One of my customers in my card break group actually coached Jalen Tolbert in high school.
Could he have told him to be better? Is that a thing?
Well, I'm sure he motivated him that way. The revisiting question, though, that I was talking about is actually the next comment.
Oh, okay. This one?
No, the next one.
Oh, okay, because that was the next one. I'm just saying.
Right.
To specify, I need one running back and possibly a flex.
Right. So I think that's the Monty Pollard and Dobbins question. So he only needs one running back and a flex.
Oh. So I guess it's all. Who's taking Montgomery out of those 3?
I mean, I like Dobbins' matchup today, so I'm going Dobbins as my running back.
All right, 2 for Montgomery. So we're starting Montgomery, and then is anybody starting Dobbins over Drake London?
I still want London.
Yeah. For me, it's Dobbins.
Yeah, I think I'm rolling London.
Okay, so right now we are Montgomery, and as a group we're Montgomery and London, and Dave is Dobbins in London. So there we go. All right, let's get back to thank you for your service, George, and any other toileters that served. So Rich as well. Can you imagine Mark if he was in the service? Do you think they would serve?
No.
You think they would serve him just chicken nuggets?
Nope. That dude would be in a corner crying when they handed him an MRE and said, "This is what you're eating."
Yeah. Cole. Oh, he's taking shots. He ain't even here. Cole. Oh, Goff or Tua? Start
Goff.
with George.
Jared
All
Goff.
right, it was quick. David.
Yeah, it's Goff for me as well.
And Rich. Make his
Golf.
unanimous. Oh, this one. Amon Ra or Cooper Kupp non-PPR. I want to know who you're starting. That's not these guys, so that you have to make this choice. But I'm gonna because that's a hell of a team. If there's somebody that you're like, this guy's solid, he has to start. Maybe it's CeeDee Lamb. I don't know. But if you're starting somebody over these 2, that's so good that you have to choose between these 2.
No, because it's believable. Like he could have gone, Justin Jefferson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, the first 2 picks, or Jamar Chase, who fell a little bit in drafts, and Amon-Ra in the second round. And Cooper Kupp realistically was going 4th or 5th round. So it's
I'm
realistic.
not saying it's not realistic. I'm just saying it's a good it's like I want to know
it's
who
a great
got.
problem. Yeah.
Since you were talking, who you got?
I'm gonna go with Cooper Kupp. Have you not seen how bad the Dolphins have been playing?
Rich.
Yeah, I'm going Cup too.
And David.
If this was PPR, I'd say Cup. But for me, when I've watched them both, Amon-Ra gets, he's the more explosive play kind of guy, getting the long yards and the touchdowns. Kupp's getting the short plays, some of which he turns into long plays. I agree, but he's getting a lot of targets. Again, non-PPR though. I'm going to go Amon-Ra.
All right.
There's no wrong answer here.
No, not at all.
2 for Cooper Kupp, 1 for Amon-Ra.
I have a keeper league where I actually kept Kupp, Lamb, and Jamar Chase. So wide receiver is set for me all year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just. I mean, I've got him 5 and 6 in my rankings. So I mean, I got Cooper Kupp ahead of Amon-Ra, but it's not like it's a huge difference.
Brandon Williams. Defense: Chargers, Vikings, Buffalo. Chargers, Vikings, Buffalo. I'm gonna start with Dave. Is Will Levis playing this week?
Yes,
he is.
Oh, well,
I'm gonna go with the Chargers.
Did that make it easy?
No, it was already easy for me. The Chargers defense has been one of the strongest defenses of the year. I was trying to figure out, there's a defense that I was reading a stat on earlier that said that they've scored a touchdown 4 games in a row. The defense has. And I can't remember who it is.
Is it the Bears?
It might be.
All right, Rich.
Man, look, I'm picking this team because I have them in multiple leagues and they have been awesome for me all year long. It's Buffalo.
All right, Buffalo it is. George.
Yeah, so if I'm going by the rankings here, I've got the Vikings 5, I've got the Chargers 4, and the Bills 8. So you got 3 top 10 options here. I'm going to stick true to the rankings, though. I've got to. Tennessee is the 31st worst offense in the NFL. I'm going to go with the Chargers.
It's actually the Rams have scored 4 defensive touchdowns 4 straight games in a row. There's only 2 teams who have done it 5 times in a row. So
there's a good chance they do it today. You got pick Tua back there.
That's true.
All right. What do we got here?
Shout out, I guess, to Frito here. The 94 Raiders were one of those 2 teams who scored 5 defensive touchdowns in a row.
All right. If Tyreek is sulked out today, should I start the Rams defense? Should I start either the Lions or the Falcons?
Well, we won't know if he's out today because they don't play till tomorrow. So, and even if we do find out that he's out, it'll be later today. I'm probably going to start the Lions defense though, because they've been a very good defense most of the year. I've got them ranked as the number 6th defense on the week.
All right, David.
I'm leaning. The Lions have been more consistent, but the Falcons have the much easier matchup, and the Rams. They've scored 4 touchdowns. So, each of the last 4 weeks they've gotten a defensive touchdown, but that's more of a fluky thing, really, than a consistent. You could count on it to happen. Although you could possibly count on it to happen against Tua and them. I'm probably going to go with the Lions if I'm looking for safety.
All right, Lions it is, and Rich is agreeing. All right. Brandon Williams, Bills or Rams? George, since they're playing the Dolphins. Since one of the teams is playing the Dolphins.
As I said earlier, the Bills are my number 8 ranked defense on the week. They're playing the Indianapolis Colts, who are not a very good team. I'm gonna go with the Bills.
All right, Bills. Rich?
Yep, I've already said my piece on the Bills. They're my team, my team of the year. So
All right, and then David.
That was a very impressive play by Bryce Young, which we don't say very often. That was impressive. He was under pressure, took it for like a 25-yard run right up the middle, a la a Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels-esque type run. It was a very impressive play.
If only he got to play the Giants every week.
This is true. Maybe we just leave those 2 teams in Munich.
Listen, I'm sticking. I will say I highly, highly, highly doubt, although they're not mathematically eliminated yet from winning the division. Like I said, I am still saying that they will win 6 games this year, though. I'm sticking by that.
Okay. And then, are the Rams going undefeated this season or no? Can the Bills
I
knock them
don't know
off?
about the Rams, but
the Chiefs.
The Rams
My
are
bad.
not going undefeated. I know that.
yeah, I'm willing to put money on that. Who wants to take the over?
Are the Chiefs going undefeated?
No.
In the second
And I
half
also
of the
think that I think they need to stop looking past the Broncos this week, which is entirely something that they could do. The Broncos play the Chiefs tough quite a bit, and they could 1,000% be looking ahead to next week in that big matchup against the Bills. So I wouldn't look past the Broncos to possibly pull off an upset today.
Yeah, it's a division game as well. Those division games are always crazy. Can the Bills beat the Chiefs? Yes, they can. I mean, any team can beat any team any given Sunday. So will they knock them off is another subject, but can they? Absolutely.
I mean, the Bucks knocked them, or the Bucks were, a 2-point conversion away from beating them potentially last week. So can the Bills do it? Yeah, I mean, obviously. All right. Not sure what text me.
It was up with the last one off next week. Knock them off next week.
Okay. And then last question we have currently. I'm 8-1 in David's fantasy league. Just wanted to brag, and our soccer team beat his yesterday. Sorry, brother.
Listen. Okay. Well, first off, touchdown.
Yep.
Somebody named Davis Moore. And then
Davis or David? Oh, David. Yeah.
I think it's
Davis. It's David Moore. He played in Seattle a few years ago. He was with us last year, and he followed Dave Canales to Carolina. So, yeah, Dave Moore was actually a pretty decent role player. Sorry, I know a little bit about him.
Good. Yeah. So, firstly, as far as the soccer goes, I talked to Dina about it this morning, and apparently, I'm supposed to be a good sport and cheer for your team now to win the entire thing. So that's what I'm going to do. So good luck with that, Jimmy. I'm just happy Columbus also got knocked out. And as far as my fantasy league, listen, I am proud that I am 4-4-1 right now because I have one fantasy league that I run with my card group, and I'm terrible in it every year. And it's a redraft league. But I think the first year I won 1 game. The next year I won 4 for the whole season, I think. And this year I am currently in a playoff spot and pulled off the rare tie last week.
Doesn't it suck when you have shows like this that you say, "Hey, I'm a fantasy expert," and or if you monitor
fantasy analysis,
and then you throw out the name Fantasy Genius, and then your record is 4-4-1 in a home league.
Listen, I don't know what it is either. It's just this specific league. It's the only one that I run by myself. There's a few others that I have a hand in, but this is the only one I run myself. And every single year since we started it, I've done terrible. Last year, I won like 7 of my 13 leagues. Straight up won first place this league, I was still garbage, and it's happened every year. The touchdown was taken back, by the way.
Yep, illegal motion.
I have a question for you guys.
Nice.
You guys
Sorry.
risking Nico Collins this week?
I don't have any fears of Nico Collins because I'm a Tank Dell guy. So
Depend on my options.
Brian Thomas Jr.
I'm going Nico.
All right.
Same. I have Nico's in multiple leagues, and if he's playing, I'm playing him, even with the options I have. What's funny about it is all the leagues that I have him in, I'm either 1 or 2 and stuff like that, and I've been able to survive with him being out. So
yeah,
we're
I'm tied for first right now in the league. So and I've been able to survive without him, but some of that was on the back of Hopkins, last week. We got a question here: Mahomes or Stroud? From Mini Jordan 718. Good morning, Mini Jordan. Rich, Mahomes or Stroud?
I think I'm playing Stroud against the Lions.
You can't run on the Lions, but you are able to throw on them.
Yeah, and Denver's defense has been pretty stout, so it could obviously go opposite directions. But I think in this case, I might be. Man, it's a tough one. I'd probably roll with Stroud.
George?
I'm going with Patrick Mahomes. I've got him as the 8th overall quarterback this week. Yes, thank you, Chuba. And I've got Stroud at number 13. Stroud just hasn't looked really good at all this year. Like, he really has not looked very good at all. I'm gonna go with Patty Mahomes, hoping that between Hopkins and Kelsey, now that he has a legit wide receiver on the team, that his fantasy outlook turns around.
All right. So Mahomes, that's 2. David?
Yeah, Stroud hasn't looked good this year, but he has not needed to. They've had a running game that is much better than what they had last year. But again, just like Rich said, you do not need to, or you cannot run against the Lions very well. So I think he's going to have to lean into the pass. They're going to be behind trying to catch up. I think I'm going to go with Stroud today.
So real quick list of actives and inactives: Drake London, Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey, Nick Bosa, Brian Thomas Jr., and Gabe Davis are all active. Inactives are Trevor Lawrence, Juju Smith-Schuster, Jamal Williams, and Cedric Wilson. Not that anybody was caring about those last 3, but they're there on the list.
Juju for a minute looked like he was going to be the guy in Kansas City, and then he got himself hurt.
Well, he looked like he was going to be the guy because there was literally nobody else there.
Yeah. All right.
All right, so question.
Yep.
Trevor Lawrence is out.
Yeah.
I picked up Mac Jones in the Frank League.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I know. My other options are Russ and Drake May. Do I stick with Russ and Drake May over Mac?
I would.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, I was sticking with Russ either way, but Drake May is facing a pretty good defense there in Chicago on the road. So,
yeah, I just don't trust Mac Jones. I mean, I can't trust Mac Jones.
Yeah, not until we see. I don't think until I see what he does. I picked him up in a few leagues that I had T-Law in just in case, but
Oh, it's not a bad pickup for sure. Like especially in a 2 QB or super flex league, you gotta grab quarterbacks that are starting. All right, who's the next coach to get fired?
well,
Jacksonville coach.
win this game.
They won't fire. They're not going to fire Peterson.
That's
You don't
whoever
think
loses.
so?
That is ridiculous.
All right, so you think Dable He's
I don't
next.
actually think they will. I think they're going to give him a little bit longer. He kind of inherited Daniel Jones, and he did make him look good that first year. So I think they're going to give him his shot at his own quarterback next year.
It would be funny if they fired him, and that would be two coaches. The Panthers got fired back-to-back weeks.
That would be amusing.
I'm not going to lie. If they lose this week, I could see Mike McCarthy from the Dallas Cowboys being on the hot seat.
I'd be interested to see what Jerry does there. I think Jerry's the problem, but how do you tell the guy who owns the team he's the problem?
They probably have told him, but I mean,
who tells you that? It's the fans, but they don't matter.
No, I believe people within the organization have told Jerry that he gets in the way at times, but still, like, he's not going to fire himself.
How long of a leash do you think they give Antonio Pierce?
Oh, that's a good Rich question.
That's a Rich question for sure. I think they knew they weren't good coming into this year. So I think, their quarterbacks are Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell. Like, neither one of those are solutions. So.
Rich? Well, he's sideways. I don't know what Rich is doing over there. We're gonna give it I'm gonna give it a couple more minutes. If we don't get another question, we'll cut out a little bit early. I got plenty of stuff I gotta do on top of all the lineups to set. So
I'd say it's either McCarthy or Peterson are the two on the hot seat the most.
I can see the Buccaneers firing their head coach.
McCarthy was on the hot seat even when he was winning 10 games a year just because of his playoff record. Now, they're going to be, if they don't fire him this year, it's totally going to be, oh, well, we didn't have Dak for that second half of the year, so we're going to give him another chance.
I can also see Kevin Stefanski in Cleveland being on the hot seat.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
They had high expectations coming into this year.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, when you have a quarterback that plays as bad as Watson did, and I do not believe that the head coach didn't want to make a change before he got hurt. I feel like that organization is dictating that bad quarterback plays because of how much money they paid him. So they may go ahead and do it, but I'm not sure if that's a wise decision on that end. Todd Bowles could get fired because he's also the defensive coordinator, and as we mentioned, the Bucs defense is dreadful. And I will say that I've heard reports that the Buccaneers are not going to let Liam Cohen, the new offensive coordinator, out the door. So if that means they push Todd Bowles out in order to keep Liam Cohen, or, because if they don't end up bouncing back here and it's largely on the defense, I can very easily see Todd Bowles getting booted and Liam Cohen, and I don't know why it's so hard for me to say his name, take over as head coach with the way he's produced this in this offense. So then, of course, you have to find a defensive coordinator, but Robert Saleh's out there, Vrabel's out there, this guy's out there. So, and then I'll bring Rich back in to see what he thinks about the hot seat for Antonio Pierce.
No, Pierce is going to be there for the season.
Yeah.
Very clear, very simple.
But do you think
I doubt that they're going to keep him this season? I'm just wondering if they're going to give him, how long of a leash are they going to give him? Are they keeping him into next year, or did they give him this 1 year as a shot as the interim who inspired everybody?
No, he's on the hot seat. I mean, The reason why they got rid of Getsy and let's just say the reason why they got rid of all three coaches is, look, this is Mark Davis saying, "Hey Pierce, look, you brought him in. Okay, I'll give you the first half on him, but second half is on you. If this team looks the same as it did with Getsy gone, then now this is on you."
Oh, I'd also like to let everybody know the only reason the babies did not make their appearance this week is they are even worse off than me as far as the sniffles. They're just running snot all the time and crying, so they weren't coming on the air today.
Well, listen, I was going to give my condolences to both you and Mark this week. Chase Brown went out and had himself a game, and you guys didn't get to say his name because he already played.
Yeah, that's stupid.
So
what did Mark say? Legacy. That was not a legacy game. I'm sorry. He had a good game. That's not a legacy game.
All right. Well, listen, guys. We have been sitting. Oh, we got one more comment.
Yeah, I would say Steve just popped in. Steve, to answer this, I think it's about a 75% chance that he plays. There is a small chance that he doesn't play. If I have him, I'm holding him and acting as if he is playing now. I do actually have him in one league, and I do have a pivot option, but I'm not going to pivot away from Tyreek Hill.
All right. So with that, guys, we haven't had a question in a little bit. We're only a few minutes short here of where we would normally end the show anyway, with the fact that we all have a ton of lineups to go set. I think we're going to take a little bit extra time, and now we got another comment. So, he's just said thank you. All right. Switch back over to the video. So I'm going to take this time to go ahead and dip out a few minutes early on this. But I do want to say thank you to everybody who's watched us this week, everybody who stuck with us, asked us questions. I also want to say patreon.com/toilets to titles. We have tiers for just about everything. We've got the bottom level tier where you for sure get our waiver wire pickups that we do Monday night. But we have the top level tier, which includes Rich in his vehicle driving from house to house and proselytizing how great Frito-Lays are. He'll come to your house with his quarter full bags of chips and tell you that they're really full. And then he'll make you believe it because he'll talk about weights and measures. And
it's a full bottle of water.
Yeah, exactly. So that the water doesn't get damaged. I got to pick on Rich, but we all love Lay's chips, especially now that I know that there's some honey Cheetos out there. I'm going to have to go get some of those probably off Amazon or any of your other fine establishments that may or may not sell them. So, and then I'm going to let Dave go and recoup a little bit from chatting it up while being sick. And maybe he can go get some sheets.
Yeah, I'm down with it.
Dave, why don't you talk about your card breaks real quick, and then we're going to get out of here.
Yeah, we do card breaks over on Facebook. We've expanded lately for a few other sports. We've done some NBA, some MLB, some UFC. We got some requests to do WWE. So we've got some new things going. We might even do Pokemon, although I don't know if I'd be able to pronounce most of those names anymore. And we are doing squares, so hop on over and have some fun.
All right. And where is that? Just so people can find you if they...
Sorry, stick this. That's usually the first thing I say. Over on Facebook, Genesis Fantasy or Genesis Card Breaks.
All right, Genesis Card Breaks. All right, guys, go check that out as well. We will be back here Tuesday night with our main show. This guy is fragile on Friday night, and obviously right back here 10 a.m. next Sunday morning. Thank you all for watching, and we will catch you next time.